Or I'll get a cup of cacao or tea or coffee or ayahuasca or whatever the fuck you're drinking, because this is gonna be a video. It's gonna have some length to it. So without further ado, here we go. I will be diving into the realms of ayahuasca soon, and I must say I'm a bit nervous but also excited. I feel like I have been training for this for a very long time. For many years, I sat patiently and waited. I figured when it was time, a shaman would appear with a brew and offer it to me, but little did I know I was waiting for a future version of myself. I started to work heavily with entheogens in a ceremonial manner after several years of experimentation with many types of plant and synthetic medicine. I became incredibly in touch with my guides, the main ones being the spirits of psilocybin mushrooms, DMT, and many other entheogenic medicines. Having this ability to communicate with these beings was overwhelming at first. It made daily living a challenge because I did not understand how to manage these energies. After many years of first trying to suppress, but then eventually accepting the reality of my gifts, I started to gain control over them. Someone gifted me ingredients to brew ayahuasca a while back, and I was very hesitant to do it at the time. I think because on a subconscious level, I knew I was not ready, and Mother Ayahuasca knew this also and was telling me to wait. I'm glad I listened to her. But finally, the call to do this has come. The medicine has been sitting with me this entire time, but I didn't feel ready until now. Over the next couple of months, I will be mentally preparing to make a brew, and I will be journeying with Mother Ayahuasca for the first time. It won't be just one journey, there will be many over several months. I look forward to finally forming an intimate relationship with Mother Ayahuasca, other than the one we already have before I have consumed a brew. I have waited 10 years for this level of my journey. I knew it would come eventually, I just needed to be patient while all the preparations were made. I have done an intense amount of training to get ready for this, and even with my hesitancy, I have never felt more ready. I look forward to documenting my discoveries so that I can share them. When we feel a pull or an urge to use a certain type of medicine, it is because that spirit is in communication with us on a multi-dimensional level, and they wish to do work with us. It isn't until we begin to regularly consume this medicine that it can communicate with us most effectively, and we can understand its teachings and wisdom. Every single mushroom ceremony I have, Mother Ayahuasca sits with me. I experience her in glimpses. She heals me. She removes my sickness. I am connected to DMT on a very deep level. Much like we have spirit animals, we also have spirit plants, and DMT is one of mine. We resonate at an extremely similar frequency. Generally, plants and plant spirits that resonate at the same frequency as us are involuntarily drawn into our physical lives. If you find certain plants finding their way to your physical reality frequently, that probably means it is one of your spirit plants. I find this to be my own personal truth in regards to DMT and most entheogenic medicine. Entheogens have always found their way to me. It is my genuine belief that these medicines consciously seek us out and find us when it is time. These entities are conscious, and I am in direct contact with them. They speak to me regularly and we converse. They even influence my reality, but when I'm actually in ceremony with them, there is this level of communication even more intense than what I normally feel. In this space is where we are able to do our work together. These spirits have much to teach us, and it is my entire life's work to translate those teachings. I am the shaman that I was waiting for. Several years ago, when I was in the midst of many entheogenic ceremonies, I had this ability that had always been there, but it emerged, and it was this ability to communicate with plant spirits. I have come to realize over the years it's not just plant spirits. I can also communicate with the spirit of synthetic medicines such as ketamine, LSD, 2CB, medicines of that nature that were synthesized in a lab. It's not that I can hear them physically talking to me like a human being is talking to me or to my face or to me on the phone. It's not words, it is this telepathic communication, and it registers in my body as feelings. And over time, and especially doing a lot of microdoses, I have been able to decipher what feelings are actually the compounds trying to communicate things to me. Now, these beings are always in communication with actually many of us. We don't even realize it. And they're always teaching us things on a subconscious and on a multidimensional level. But when we feel a call to work with one, it is us actually becoming consciously aware of it talking to us and like calling us to work with it. When we begin to consume it, that is when all of the wisdom and the teachings that it has to share with us is actually able to be translated. Because at that point, when you are on its level of consciousness, you are understanding its language, whether you innately speak their language or not. And whether you are aware of all of this happening or not, it's happening. When you consume an entheogen, you are in direct communication with it. Communication and language is not always these verbal words that humans have created. A lot of it is feelings and visuals and telepathic communication. Unfortunately, humans have been traumatized and they've been so brainwashed and conditioned into a place where we're not able to really do that with one another. But we are able to do that with these plants because they are able to do it with us. They have these abilities. And when we consume them, we have these abilities as well. And that is why you may have experienced maybe a time when you were tripping with someone and you felt like you were reading each other's thoughts. And it's because you were. Even when I am not consuming these medicines, they're always talking to me all the time. They are the biggest influence for my writing because they're usually literally yelling things into my ear like, hey, you need to write this down before you forget about it. Over the years that I've worked with these medicines, I have found it to be easier to understand them, but to this day, it is always most easy for me to understand exactly what they're meaning when I am on their level of consciousness. And that is the reason why I go into ceremony so frequently, even if it is just a microdose. As much as I try to understand, as much as I try to meditate on what the meanings of all of this energy is, I'm only a human and I can only understand so much. And these medicines break down those barriers and those walls that make it hard for my human form and my human consciousness to grasp what they are teaching me. This ability to communicate with these medicines emerged after I started doing a lot of heavy work with DMT, and that is why I'm most excited to begin this journey of working with ayahuasca, because when you smoke DMT, you have about 10-15 minutes for them to show you what they want to show you and for you to intake it and to be able to communicate with them. And that's not a lot of time. It's a lot of it is just when you smoke DMT or changa, it's a lot to intake, and the only thing that you can really do is just sit there and intake it and surrender to it. And I'm looking forward to sitting with ayahuasca because I want the opportunity to sit with the DMT the way that I sit with psilocybin, the way I sit with LSD, the way I sit with 2CB, the way I sit with ketamine. I want more than just a couple of minutes to sit there and have a conversation with the DMT. And I am absolutely blessed that Mother Ayahuasca has come to me during this time to offer a medium and a way for us to be able to have that communication. Because I think that this is going to be a big turning point in my shamanic journey. I don't entirely know what that means, but I can feel the energy and the change and the transformation that is ahead of me. And I'm very nervous, I'm not gonna lie, but I am so ready for this. Learning how to work with these medicines is my passion, and I really look forward to sharing all of the information that I learn, and I look forward to teaching people how to communicate with these spirits and how to use these medicines in an intentional, ceremonial, and respectful way. Integrating these medicines into my life has been the single most life-changing thing to ever happen to me. I went through years of suffering until I finally came across entheogens. These spirits laid out a path for me to walk down. Instead of having to whack through a bunch of bushes with a knife, there is this path in front of me, and there are these beings, and they're holding out their hand and they're saying, "Come with me. I want to show you the way." And the best thing that I could have done for my healing is to just surrender to that. My life has only fallen more into place the moment that I surrendered to these medicines and the wisdom that they have to teach me. I am only a human being, and honestly, this human thing is really confusing. They don't give you a guidebook on how to do it, and these spirits, they have an understanding that humans don't. These beings want to teach us how to be humans, and not just how to survive, but how to be healthy, happy human beings. But we have to surrender to them. They love us. They come all from a place of love. And I guess that is the message that every single one of them is trying to get through to anyone that is watching this right now, is that they love you and they want to help. So all you have to do is create that opening, surrender to it, and everything is going to fall into place. I promise. All right, I think that's all I have to say on that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Much love and many blessings.